could hear me.
You can't if you're not live.
Yeah, we're live now. And hey, Scott, Dan's over here saying he's looking forward to seeing some Black Cricket updates. Is that what you're doing in Photoshop there?
Yes, I am toning Black Cricket. I'm toning Chapter 2. So I didn't get a chance to tell you this when I saw you today.
Which was minutes ago.
Yeah, rare, which is a rare thing for us.
Yeah.
I don't see you all the time, but I don't know how much I can tell about this, but I'll just say that we have a interested publisher for Black Cricket, and so I'm putting together a screen tone version of Chapter 2 that we can submit.
Cool.
And I'm excited about it. The screen toning is driving me crazy. Sorry, Dan. It's taking me.
Well, it's one of those.
It seems like.
What do you call it? Tedium. There's some tedium involved in that kind of.
There is, and I've had technical issues. I couldn't get my Wacom to work. I'm actually buying another computer soon, but it's my old one from work. Which you would think, why do you want that? But it actually works pretty good. So.
And you're used to it.
And I'm used to it, so that's what I'm going to do.
That is a big deal, being used to something.
Well, and yeah. Anyway, and I'm getting a pretty good deal, but they want to go to Windows 11, and I mean I'm running Windows 10 or Windows 7, so I don't care. I don't care about going to Windows 11. It won't go to Windows 11. It doesn't have the right specs. But I mean, I don't care. I'm running Windows 10 or Windows 7. But I want to see, since I use Adobe CS2, I want to see if it will run under 10. And someone told me it may actually run better under 10. That 10 does a better job of emulating on the old. Because, 7 has to emulate for CS2 has to emulate it somehow. And I was told by somebody at church, he's like, hey, it may run better under that. So we'll see. I mean, but I'm getting a deal on the computer. This one's old, and I'm concerned about losing stuff because I don't have a good backup.
You need a whatchamacallit disc. An extra disc.
I wanted to take it in and have the hard drive replaced. That seems to be a thing that always fails. And I have 2 monitors, but my video card will only run one of them. And I actually have an extra video card here that I could install, but I'm not messing with anything until I have a good backup and plan. And I always said when I get done with my comics, I'm going to do it. And every time I get done with comics, there's more comics. Thank God,
Dan's got comments. The publisher likes it. And he's 99.999% sure it's going to see print.
Yeah,
and Black Cricket has no agenda except to be a fun superhero book. And 80s Marvel meets manga. Stay tuned. Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
It'll be cool. Anyway, so I'm doing the screen tone on it to kind of give it a little bit of juice. So that's what I've been doing. So I have that, which I haven't told you about that. Also, now, do you want to tell what you've been up to since last Thursday?
Well, since Friday, I had a ball joint crack in two, crack out of the housing, etc. In other words, it failed. It was a goner. It was a complete failure, and this was at the entrance to a very busy park. So the entire city of Moore got to see me sitting in my car all day long. I had one guy, this is one thing that teaches you to be a different person yourself. I drive by that sort of stuff like better him than me. And that's my attitude, and that's the end of it for me. And it's like someone made me a sandwich. And I constantly.
I thought you were going to go the other way. I thought somebody made you feel bad.
No. There were these people. They were worried about me, and, And the cop that checked on me, I think 2 or 3 times, said some people had reported me as being drunk when I ran over to the porta potty. I don't know why they thought I might be drunk.
You broke down in the driveway.
Yeah, and it's like anyway. So anyway, that cop was checking on me. At first, he just took my story. About the second time, he wanted to see ID. And, I just told him the truth. I was waiting for AAA, which turned into an all-day long wait.
Yeah, that can be, if you catch them at the wrong time, for sure. Which sucks.
Also bad weather. But I used my car as a generator. I just listened to Tom Wolfe, Back to Blood, his last book, not one of his best.
No, wait. When did this? Was the weather bad? You said the weather was bad?
Yeah, the weather was bad Friday. It was. It got rainy and cold.
Oh yeah, Friday was okay. Yeah, I stand corrected.
And that poor guy that came out had only been at work 2 weeks, so he had all of a sudden this brand new problem of how do I roll this onto my cart with no wheel.
The folded up wheel. Well.
Yeah. So anyway, it was.
Welcome to big time, dude.
So that was welcome to now you get to tell a story, an anecdote about how much you'd like a new job.
Well, I rode, not when we went to Amarillo, San Antonio, Santa Fe. One of the days I'll get the city right. We had a tire issue coming back, and we had to call. I waited an hour for a tow truck, and we rode with that guy for like 2 hours, man. He had to stop and get gas. I bought him. In fact, I bought him lunch after when we got to Amarillo. I gave him $20 and said, "Hey." I
gave the guy $15 and my whole big Tootsie Roll bank full of quarters. So that was probably, that might have been another $20. I don't know. I didn't count it.
Well, man, AAA. In fact, that we were talking to the guy, and he also is a AAA driver. And he said, really, if you get AAA, you should get the premium one because it'll tell you like 300 miles or something like that. And he said the regular one only does like 20 miles or something.
Yeah, I got home for free this time.
So. Yeah. People go, why do you have AAA? You got a brand new car. Which is true. My car has less than 4,000 miles on it, but stuff happens,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
My wife's car doesn't have a spare tire, so who knows what could happen to us,
Doesn't have a spare tire?
It does not have a spare tire.
Well, one of the first things I encountered on trying to fix this thing myself, Dan gives me some sympathy. He says, "I'm sorry to hear that." I appreciate it, Dan. One of the first things I encountered was I was ready to give up on just cracking the lug nuts off the thing with what I physically had to do.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, yeah.
I had to get a big old breaker bar to get them loose, on it.
Yeah, in 2020, I was driving home from work in the summer of 2020, and there wasn't a lot of cars on the road, thankfully, but a lot of stuff was still closed. It was that time when nothing was open, and my tire light came on, and I pulled over, and to tell you where I was at, I pulled into Harkins movie theater. I got off the highway, and that was the first place that I could find that I knew I could park.
Mm-hmm.
And I put the tire on it. I kind of wondered because I got out and I was like, God, it's been a long time since I put a spare on. I mean, like years, but man, I had no problem.
Yeah, if you got one of the best things you can have, if you don't have it, if you've got some sort of supplied by the manufacturer jack and it's just a straight jack, throw in somewhere. What are those X jacks or whatever you call it?
Yeah,
that's where you get the leverage if you've got that little X.
I had the regular L, but I do have an X jack at my house, and I need to throw it in my wife's car even though she doesn't have a spare, because you never can tell when you might, if you had that and somebody could lend you a jack or whatever, you could at least get the tire off and get it. She didn't have any tools in her car.
Yeah.
Of course. It's her and not me. I don't know if I want her changing a tire, even though I think she probably could. I mean, my wife's pretty strong, and I know she knows how.
It's just a matter of like if you've got that 1% that you need to get that thing to crack, and I just barely had it with all kinds of leverage. So those old hammer wrenches they use on those things.
Yeah, the impact wrenches. Yeah,
they can.
They'll jack it on there, man.
They'll take that bolt right out of the tire if they don't watch it.
I got new tires on my other car, and they stripped the lug nut. They stripped the studs, and I had to get them replaced. And I mean, I think every time I took my car in once to get the oil change. The dealership told me, "Oh, you got a stripped lug," and I'm like, "Oh man!" So I paid them $150 to replace it. Mm-hmm. And then next time I went back, they told me I had another one. I said, "Wait a minute,
wait a minute."
So and they did that one for free, but it was, I think I got tires and they just did a number on them.
Yeah, those guys, they worry me sometimes, Firestone, like that. And of course it is just retail. It's like, hey, we're not here to be your friends. We're here to make a little money off of you.
We're selling you tires.
Yeah, we're selling you tires.
Well, so I took Ellis Ellis and I had been communicating a little more than normal.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Trouble, and I was like, "What do I need to do to help you?" And so, and Ellis kind of refused all my help, but
I just knew that it was mostly me in the pit, basically.
Well, anyway, so today you happened to call me about the end of the day, and I said, you mentioned you were going to O'Reilly's. I said, well, let me come take you so you don't have to walk. It wasn't that far, but what would it take you, an hour to get there or an hour there and back?
It's a good 2-mile trip, and that's as long as that takes. It's at least 10 minutes a mile to walk, so it's a half hour at least.
Yeah. Anyway, so I did that on the way home, and
it's an ugly walk.
Yeah.
It's a brutal, ugly walk going down May. Go ahead.
I can see that. That's not the nicest part of town for sure. But anyway, so I was Ellis allowed me to help him finally.
And it was great because it's on the coming into the finish line. We got the part. I got the part. I got all the stuff off. Man, I can tell some stories about getting that part loose. I tell you. But the main thing was probably I saw all these guys using their acetylene torches to get frozen nuts loose. And I said, wait a second. I was reaching around. I asked Scott for a little propane torch if he had one. Then finally the light went on that I have a heat gun. And those things will pretty much do what a little propane torch will do.
Yeah, I was telling Ellis I bought a heat gun for my mold makers at work, and the one it does like 1,200 degrees. I mean I think that'll strip paint.
Yeah. Oh yeah, laser would have been nice.
Yeah. Anyway, we got that. You got that. I helped you with the part. Get the part.
Yeah.
And tomorrow you're gonna put it on, and I'll be available if you need more rides or more, whatever. I'll be
suicide counseling.
Well, Michelle was like, "Why won't Ellis let you help him?" And I go, "I think he likes to be independent."
Yeah, like Rick Randolph guy I used to work with at Blue Sky. I posted that one picture of the part laying there separate, and he says, "You are a man."
Yeah.
That I pulled it out. It's like, I'm ready. I
mean, there is something about that. I mean, because let's face it, our parents or our fathers,
that's really
worked on their cars. I mean,
if I go by my dad, I gotta tell you, that guy could put him in the wilderness and he'd make it out. He'd find him. He'd be like Gomer Pyle. You put that country boy Gomer Pyle. You act like you're working a hardship on him, saying you're going to do that. You remember that episode where
they were marching or whatever.
Well, they were marching and were being tested for. Yeah, it was a survival
test. A survival thing.
And I think at the end of it, Gomer had found something to make cigars out of, basically. So by the time I found him, he'd gained weight and was smoking cigars.
Yeah.
So it's
my dad wasn't like that, but my dad was definitely handy. I mean, my dad was an aircraft mechanic for years.
Oh yeah, that's sort of grounding of how things work and stuff like that. Adam Carolla, same way. He learned early on, and I think what a great skill this is everything on a house, because he's built them and gone in and flipped them and all that stuff. And that's the deal. This whole, our new Mexican population, that's who they are. They're middle class. It's taking over all these real jobs of dealing with the real world. And it's a good grounding. It says to you, since I'm going to spend 10% of what everybody else spends to give myself a deck, or whatever.
Yeah. Or a new.
New anything as far as quality living. Ellis may be like me. He's probably waiting to call in a favor. That's right. When I need to hide the body at 3 a.m. That was a great episode of Gomer Pyle. Of course, there is rarely a bum episode of Gomer. Yeah, those were very charismatic people in charge of. And Scott, you're the big fan of Andy Griffith. I guess you went through all those fairly recently. Hey, I read or listened to the audio version of Frankenstein, finished it, and it's interesting, the creation of the monster, which amounts to always such a big portion of the movies. It's it's about a page long in the book. It's like, and I use some chemicals. Never mentions robbing graveyards, stitching anything together, whatever. It's like he apparently had some skills that were almost. He mentions alchemy a couple of times as being his first start on pseudoscience. So he was actually dipping into sorcery early, and he gets corrected when he goes to university and all that, but or people try to correct him.
Yeah.
So it may be almost like evil wizard kind of stuff he does when he produces Frankenstein.
Oh yeah.
I just thought that was interesting, and it's really it's also kind of funny how loquacious the creature is. Where you get him started, he's going to tell you a story, and he's got a crazy amount of articulation and.
Yeah, not quite like the movie.
Yeah.
So I got another story to tell you, Ellis.
Okay.
I had two crazy stories happen to me. Two things I wanted to tell you. So my wife and I, we shop at the Walmart by us pretty much every weekend. We go, how it is. We go over there. There's always something we got to buy. And so we go there. Well, there's a guy that works there. Long hair, kind of a burnout looking dude, probably in his early 60s. So every time you go in, he's like, "Hey, what's up, man?" So anyway, we've got to know this guy, and me, I'll talk to anybody. So I talked to him, and his name is Dave. And I was at Michael's one day, and I saw Dave there.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to talk to Dave, and he was there with his wife. Kind of found out he's an artist, and so he's telling me, and I told him about what I do and the comic and all this stuff, and so he's like, when I go in, he was showing me pictures. So I'd see him at Walmart. He'd show me pictures of his paintings and stuff, and didn't think a whole lot about it. And so he goes, hey, so last Friday, there was something going on the next day. Oh, I had an eye doctor's appointment. And so I told Michelle, I go, hey, we ought to go to the grocery store tonight since I don't have a podcast. And that way we can, get our food, get groceries. So we did. Well, one of the things she said was, she said, oh, we want to see Dave. Well, we were there, and I saw him there shopping, right? And so he goes, oh, man, I was hoping I'd see you. And I go, okay. And he goes, I need to talk to you. I got some paper for you. He goes, he goes, oh, are you coming in tomorrow? And I go, no. And he goes, oh. He said, can you come in Sunday? And I go, when you working? He said, oh, I get off at 11. I said, well, no, I'll be at church until 12. And anyway, so we got to talking. He's like, and I knew he lived by the Walmart, which isn't far from me. So he said, well, can you come by my house tomorrow? I go, sure. So I go, this would have drove you crazy.
Yeah, you're gonna get cut up and eaten. Go ahead.
I knew that but I went to this dude's house. And I met his wife, met his son, and okay. So what he was telling me is, he's like, "Hey, man, there are people that want to meet you." And I go, "What are you talking about?" And he goes, "Oh, man, I've been telling him." Well, so he had told me that he had a deal, was working with somebody doing that does like events, big events, and they're going to do his art for something. And he's like, oh man, I told him about you and your comic, and they want to know more about it. And so anyway, so I'm like, okay, whatever, dude. So I go to his house on Saturday, and I go in, and he gets me a cup of coffee, and we're talking. Kind of find out he's friends with this guy named Nye. He met the guy. He met the guy when he was managing something in Myrtle Beach, and him and the guy became friends. And the guy, kind of find out, this was like 30 years ago, but the guy invented MTV. He invented Nickelodeon. He invented, he's telling me this, and I'm like, what? And he shows me pictures of the guy. He's got like on his end table, a picture of this guy with the Who. I was like, what?
Yeah.
And the guy invented CMT. He did. God, what else did he do? Remember? Well, I don't know if you heard about the Van Gogh experience that came to town a few months ago. It was at the arena, and they projected Van Gogh images. Huge interactive thing, and this guy was behind it, and it's huge. Anyway, he's working with Dave, and Dave was like, "Oh yeah, we went out. He flew me out to Las Vegas a few weeks ago, and I'm like, what in the world?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, he wants you to send him your bio and some artwork." And I'm like, what in the world? Anyway. That was my crazy.
That's pretty crazy.
Well,
and this guy is a greeter at Walmart.
Yeah, he's retired military, and he's a greeter. It's like, why are you a greeter at Walmart? But I mean, this a
little extra cash, I guess.
Is the artist that's working with him? The Nye guy. Anyway, so I don't know what. So I sent him I made a bio, and I sent him. I wrote a bio that I thought was pretty funny. It ended up, and it talked about, so knowing how these kind of things work, I pushed the idea of, I am interested in storytelling. I'm a storyteller, visual storytelling. And I said, that with the Black Cricket, we're trying to revive the seeming lost art of traditional comic book storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, and then my last line was, can we save comics? Only time will tell. Anyway, I thought it was pretty funny.
Well, it's really just fun that, there's people out there, that are get linked up like that just because.
Well, and he knew the guy, and he said he
There you go.
like on Facebook had met the guy, had seen the guy, and the guy was like, "Hey, man, we need to work. Call me." So he called him. Oops. And
Cool.
next thing he knew, they're working together on this thing. I can't remember the name of it, or I can tell you. Hang on just a second. Maybe I can find it on my phone. I forgot. I'm not recording on my phone. It's like Technocracy or something like that. Technotainment. That's what it's called.
There's so many ways to go out there and meet your public, and I guess one of them is not going to be TikTok.
Well,
according to some, I guess.
Yeah, the guy's name.
That's the news. Go ahead.
Yeah. The guy's name is Niall Henson. He's the founder. He did Nickelodeon, the Movie Channel, MTV, CMT, and Home Shopping Networks.
Good Lord. What a legacy.
Yeah. Anyway, but it was funny. Dave was telling me, he was talking to him, and he's like, "Dude, I know this guy you got to meet." And he's like, he told him, he goes, him and his wife, I know him and his wife, and they're real good people, and he's a great artist, and man, you got to meet him. And then he goes, "I don't know his name." But anyway.
Oh yeah, you guys.
Yeah, because I just came to the Walmart. I mean, I'd met him.
You're just the Walmart guy that you're friendly and you talk to people. Yeah. I don't know his name.
I know he's an artist. My name at Michael's, but he couldn't remember it. Yeah. He was one of those guys. He told me, he goes, I don't. They took him out to Vegas, and he said, "I don't drink, or I don't." He goes, "I don't drink and I don't gamble," but he said, "But I do smoke pot."
Yeah.
Shocking, Dave.
Well, I can't believe I'm driving around in a place, Oklahoma City, that when I grew up, I smoked way too much pot, but we were always very aware we could go to jail for it. Now we got these dispensaries.
Yeah, now it's practically legal. I mean, it's practically legal to just smoke it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You still wouldn't want to be caught driving, I guess, if you were.
Oh yeah, no, you don't want to.
Dan says we are going to try and make comics great again.
Yeah, that's the plan, dude.
That's looking good, Scott. Those little tones on that. Mine's just coming straight out of the ball point today. I'm gonna not my poor brain to demand too much of it.
Well, you've had a
I haven't drawn much, but I have been inking DL Notice because that's part of my X.
Yeah, I saw that you're still sticking. I mean, you haven't, despite the challenges, you've.
Yeah, when my sun goes down, if you're up, go ahead and get anything done that was still to be done.
Yeah, why not, man?
Yeah. Yeah, I credit that rope flow stuff. I was going to show that to you, but I thought, well, I don't need to do a goofy rope hula for Scott when he drives up, but I could have showed it to you.
Oh,
that rope flow, in terms of where I'm at, I've still got a ways to go, but I've got some of the coordination going. It's most like, in terms of the most basic coordination for it, it's most like swinging around a bow staff.
Oh, yeah.
Getting that circular, if you thought of the ends of a bow staff as forming figure eights in the air with it, spinning it. That's exactly what this rope flow is. You're always, got the infinity sign going on with the figure eight.
To go back and forth motion.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Yeah, this is taking me frustratingly long. I should be done with this by now.
Dan's here for updates, and you just said that, so there's this update.
Sorry, Dan. Should have sugarcoated it. Nah.
Yeah. I should have been done, but I'm not.
Hoping to have everything done this weekend.
Oh, I gave you a copy of the new paperback that arrived on my porch today. Let me stand up and get one of those. I'll be right back.
Okay.
I'll make myself big for a second. Solo layout. There it is. Ellis Goodson, The Locust Bride. Look at that, all that blue that Scott was kind enough to art direct me toward. And also inside it features a complete lack that I could find of the formatting errors. It was a bunch of line breaks. It's like you'd have 3 words and it would line break to completing the sentence on the next line. And it's like, gosh,
yeah.
Why didn't I? Why could but as you're getting ready to publish these things with Amazon, it's like it's kind of, you gotta get in a kind of a weird mode in your head in terms of like everything you have to solve before it goes through anyway.
Oh yeah.
And it was just one of those details you just miss. I think I counted up 38 total. So those botched up orange ones, they're collector items because not too many people bought those. So I'm really proud to have that all ready for my public out there. So The Locust Bride.
Oh yeah, that's cool. It was a good story too.
Yeah, you read it.
Yep.
And I appreciated your notes that you gave me on it.
Oh yeah, I need to write a review too.
Great, yeah, on Amazon that would be great. I haven't checked the webpage. For all I know, 10 people have written a review. I'll have to check that.
So a couple things. One, I recorded a YouTube video. For some reason the other day I got a lot of YouTube. Like overnight I woke up at 5 YouTube comments.
Cool.
So I investigated my YouTube page. Like, holy cow, I got some activity here.
Some action. And
I've got almost 800 followers, I think, or 750, something like that. So I posted a new video. I've been wanting to do a video. I did a video on how to sharpen a pencil with a knife.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gotten, like, a couple days, I've gotten almost, like, I don't know, like 200 views or something like that. It seems like it's gotten pretty good traction. That's
cool.
Yeah.
I always get very pleased when I look at big numbers like that. And it's like, I don't know, it just makes you feel like, it's like anything involving, getting attention, I guess, basically.
Yeah. It's like, I could do this for a living.
Yeah.
So Dan, I was reading the comments because I can see my phone this time because I'm not recording on my phone.
Ah, cool.
Dan said, Mr. X, which is the publisher, seems to be cool with this being in black and white, which I think would be great. I mean, I'm all for, even though that means I'd have to grayscale it, I'm all for kind of a stripped down approach. I think that'd be cool.
It's a win-win for us and them.
Yep.
No worries. It's all good. Dan says he didn't have money for pot. That's true. But that was back in the day when a guy could, I think, what do we call it, a lid? To get a little baggie of pot.
No, not a pothead.
Yeah, you would know. We smoked a lot of pot during my roommate phase when I got out of college. And Jimmy Carter was president, I know, because our drink of choice was Billy Beer.
Oh gosh!
And that was nasty beer. I don't know what we were thinking, but we'd put a big bus tub of out with full of ice and ice that beer up and smoke pot and hang out in our absolutely furnitureless living room and watch a little TV and read comics.
Furnitureless? No
furniture? Yeah, we were on the carpet. That's it. Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, no, it sounds. It sounds like run those people out of the neighborhood. They're creepy.
I think you were just complaining about people like that in your neighborhood.
Oh yes, absolutely. Something that's creepy is we don't realize that the baby boomer generation that I came out of was just forgiven for everything, coddled in every which way. We were treated as little darlings through every rough point of life. Look at 1950 sci-fi films, all those little darling hero kids running around in those. It's like, I think it was a reaction to the generation before us. Everybody else had a rough time. They didn't want these kids to have a rough time.
Yeah, probably not. You're probably right about that.
And it's like, that was nice. And now, I better go back to regular layout. You guys don't need to watch me do bad drawings. Let's see. How do I do that?
Trapped.
I know it. I'm trapped now.
It's funny. It's funny you talk about that because on the John Murph forum there have been two threads lately that I thought been interesting. One of them was talking about how great things were in the 80s. They list a lot of pop culture stuff. And they're like, was it a great time or am I just nostalgic? And I think everyone's consensus is no, it was a great time. And then there's also another thread where John Byrne is looking at all the commissions that he did that's on there. And he talks about how much he really misses the era of Marvel from like when he was a kid.
Yeah. Yeah, well, when those guys were just so under the gun, it just, when you hear that story in that great book, what is it called? The
Marvel Comics, The Untold Story.
The Untold Story, that complete telling of what those guys had to produce and whip out is just crazy. You just can't, they couldn't wait to get out from under that. And all of them are having flare-ups and never working again for the company and all that and leaving because of pressure, deadlines, and all that. Dan doesn't blame me for getting high during Carter being president. And he says the Muppet in Chief we got now is enough to make me drink. Yep.
Yeah.
That's the deal. Biden kind of gets to me as a guy I know you can just tell he thinks he's so cute. That's what gets to me. It's like, no, you aren't cute, man. You aren't cute.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he always gets these little, laughs from people when he fishes for it. It's like, geez, don't encourage him.
Yep, I agree. Yeah,
Whereas Trump is treated like he's some sort of insidious personality because he's mean. No, he's always semi-tongue-in-cheek about that meanness. It's like, hey, he just plays it as like, you can be on my side or I'll think of something to say about you.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
But, all of that stuff that we owe to Trump, it's like we see how the sausage is made. We understand now so much more because of what they unloaded on Trump. We understand that it's... These guys are all in the same big club, and Trump wasn't it. And we realized that it was all kind of illusory. That,
yeah, you kind of one thing that I think is it kind of makes you go. It kind of makes you realize why so many political, so many politicians go to Washington D.C. or whatever, and they just end up towing the line on the status. You know, you go.
oh yeah,
It makes sense
kick the can down the road. Yeah.
when you see some of the stuff, I mean, has got to deal with. You're like, okay, maybe I get it. Why they, it's easier to be, maybe not to agree, but you kind of understand why some of them are just,
Yeah.
some of the ones like a Mitch McConnell or somebody that you just think is like, oh God, it's like, oh, that's why he doesn't rock the boat, doesn't.
Yeah, because he knows that he's just not going to even budge this or that.
Right.
It's like he's in a system that is so much larger than he is. It has created itself. It is a monster.
Yes.
You can't, you can't imagine a superhero that can come along and change it. And Trump isn't going to change it, but I don't know. I want him in there to maybe make a couple of small adjustments. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if he gets the oil industry fired back up again, that makes
just that. Yeah, just
pocketbook.
The deal is the Machiavellian thing that all of these politicians actually are bottom line about is that their power and the security that they enjoy as the top and leadership is more important than anything else. And Trump isn't that way. He is saying, well, what can I do that the policy will result in this? And and none of these other people are saying, why are you concerned about that? We have to make sure that the things we've got in place are honored and that people toe the line. And like recently Biden was trying to shame somebody for not absolutely fervent. Oh yeah, he called them Neanderthals for not being fervently in the corner of believing everything about global warming as a crisis. Called them Neanderthals. And it's like, Jiminy Christmas, I think it's pretty clear with the hockey sticks and all that global warming is a manipulated show, just like Ukraine is. It's there to make money with.
Oh yeah.
Money and power. It's like
all you got to do. Anybody that disagrees with that, ask them why all these rich people live on beaches. If they think the coastline is going underwater, why do they build all this stuff on beaches? Why do they fly on private planes? Why their behavior would be different if they agreed, if they believe what they say they believe. I believe.
Yeah, it's all about the way to regulate everything down from them.
It's a money grab.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people can see it.
But if you say something about it and you suffer a penalty for it.
Yeah. Oh, if you're a scientist, you could.
Yeah, exactly.
You absolutely suffer a penalty for it. Or a teacher or anybody that has kind of a,
one of those things where that's your rice bowl. That's all I think of. So,
yeah, you don't dare say anything against the state religion, and that's what it is.
And
But my thing is always, why if they truly believe this, why don't they live like it?
Yeah.
Because they would live different. They wouldn't do something. If Al Gore truly believed in global warming, and they'll tell you, well, I buy our carbon offsets. If they believed it, they wouldn't even allow carbon offsets. They would be like, no, you can't buy your way out of this. You know?
Hey, I've been looking down trying to make a bad start at a Tarzan drawing into a good Tarzan drawing, and it didn't work. I'll just let you know that. Let's see. Let's catch up on Dan's comment. I like the fact that he scares the heck out of the dinosaurs in Washington. Yeah. And he fires up the next generation who want to challenge the status quo. True. That is the point that he's shown us all. The man hates to lose. He is a sore loser. And think of everything he's gone through, all the lawfare. Thing is, as president, when he wins, America wins. If climate change is such a big deal, why do they have private jets? There you go. Your point. It's rules for thee and not for me.
Yeah.
It's more not a religion, more like a cult.
I think something else, Ellis. I think there's some people that it galls them. Like, for example, that the average person can get on a plane and fly.
Oh yeah.
You know, they're like, they shouldn't be allowed to do it. It's an elitist thing. It's a snobbery thing. You know, and so I think a lot of it is like, we'll put it out of their hands. What, you know, and that's the thing about like electric car. You know, they can shut down electric car. They can control. You know, and it's all about control, and you know, they don't want you to have anything, and they want you to like it. You know, and it's ridiculous.
Hey, your phone's ringing.
Yeah, no, my phone is ringing, but it's not for me. I don't know who it's for. I think it's unavailable, so it's probably a telemarketer.
Yep.
I had to guess.
Very few of those get through to me. Of course, I don't know if.
Do you have a landline still?
No. Oh, do you have a landline? Is that what that was?
That was my landline that was ringing.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
But is it still the traditional landline? Okay, those things don't really exist anymore, do they?
No, they do. In fact, I heard an ad for a company that will put a landline in, and supposedly it's real cheap, and you can keep your number. I'm thinking about calling them because I got suckered into changing one time when they upgraded my Wi-Fi. They were like, "Oh, we'll convert you," and they didn't call it voice over IP. They called it something else, and then about halfway through I realized what he was doing was taking out. I think I was having trouble on landline though. And it was like, oh, we can fix that for you.
It's funny how sentimental you can get about an old phone number that if you've had it enough years, it's like, hey, I want to keep my phone number.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, God. Well, that's, yeah. But the only person that ever calls my house phone is my mom.
Yeah, and it's good for mom to say, I know Scott's number, top of my head.
Yep. Well, I just.
Yeah, you were going to go to all sorts of trouble for me, get me a torque wrench. You know, I've seen two types of YouTube videos. One showing guys, you know, doing precision torquing on those bolts. And other guys are more like shade tree mechanics. And one guy actually made the comment, says, some people want to do this or that pound or whatever, but pounds per, and it's like, nah, you don't need to do that. I saw one guy that, you know, YouTube is valuable for that, man. I've been walked through so many how-tos on this problem I was faced with that I felt by the time I got a hold of it, I could do it if I could physically do it. I figured out, you know, how to anyway.
Well, I have resolved several car issues. You know, again, I got a new car, but my old car, when I changed the battery out, my passenger side power window wouldn't work. And kind of find out it was a little simple combination of button pushes, and it would reset it. And then I got a deal recently where it wouldn't read my key fob. My new car wouldn't read my key fob. You know, it's got a keyless entry deal. and I couldn't figure out what was going on, and I found out it was just it was if you use your button, like you make it honk the horn a lot, like you're trying to find your car somewhere, it will go into what they call sleep mode, and then your battery, your key fob doesn't send out a signal, and so I guess mine had done that, and it was giving me all kinds of fits. Because I'd get to work and it'd be like, can't read your key, and I'd have to get the fob out and do a remote. I mean, or I'd get in the car and it wouldn't read it. I'd have to take it out of my pocket and touch it to the key. And I found a little simple trick and they're like, oh yeah, it's in sleep mode. If your car does this, your fob is in sleep mode. They do it to save energy because they figure there's one person that drives the car and one person that doesn't. You know, generally the same person uses the fob all the time, and so they had a little thing to keep from running down the battery, and it was driving me crazy.
Yeah, that sort of thing. It's like, how do you expect people to intuit that I needed to be doing this to use my damn car?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, all that extra tech layer we all have to deal with.
Oh yeah. Well, I like the car. I mean, the keyless thing is pretty nice, and all the stuff is nice, but it also can be a little bit of a pain when it gives you fits.
I'm really excited about you guys and your Black Cricket, and because something becomes so much more when you have a crew working on things that bring. I don't know why. Now you tell me why my pre-association for what I was just saying about you guys in Black Cricket, why my mind would go to Olivia Munn having a double mastectomy. I don't know why.
I don't know. Did Olivia Munn have a double mastectomy?
Isn't that sad? I used to love her on G4. I guess that's it. I guess I saw a documentary on G4. And I
watched that documentary, by
the way. Yeah, and it's really good. And it tells you about that time and about that burgeoning time of how all this tech was going to, all the social tech was going to be coming together and all that. And it was a cool time. And she was so cool, jumping off cliffs, and she's such a knockout. And, she was fun to watch and so charismatic. And here she is. She's like, it's like with Christine Applegate. What is it with these knockouts having these awful health problems,
They're human.
Yeah, they're human.
Yeah.
Dan says, I am blessed. I got a good team on Black Cricket. Scott, I am honored to be working with you, brother. Yep.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate
it. Very good. I like that.
And I sent the publisher, I had to send him the logo, and I sent him a little note, which I copied Dan on, saying how much I look forward to working with him and how much I had kind of admired what he did on some various things. And
you guys,
and he sent me, he said, no, thank you for the kind words, which,
and you just hope, it is so, you could call it just a crowded shelf out there, and it is.
Oh, sure.
But, I hope you guys get that I guess the only word lately anymore is viral, but I hope you guys make a hit.
Yeah, I mean, if it makes enough money that they continue doing it for a while, I'll be happy. That's I mean, me, Ellis. I just want to make comics.
This is looking so good. I love that process. I love that process that you've got this all tech figured out of laying some cool zipatone look on stuff. Look at that. Zoom in real close on your new texture.
Zipatone yet.
Oh, okay. You aren't at tone yet. You're doing the part. You're basically flatting, and it's like driving you nuts doing it. Yeah. Okay.
Well, but here's the thing. And you see, what makes it quicker and palatable is I'm doing it very loose, because when it turns to dots,
the dots.
It doesn't matter if you're outside the line a little bit.
Yeah, it looks kind of cool, and outside the line is kind of like got an extra vibration hum to it. Anyway.
Right, really like an old school off-register comic or something.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going for, at least.
You know what hasn't been obsessing me lately, but every now and then I'll think about it. And I think about it most when I'm just about to wake up, while I'm still in that mode where I'm doing something that could be called lucid dreaming. I'm saying, let's call up this image here and put it here and all that, and which is cool. And then I think to myself, who says I have whatever that problem is?
You can't do the thing. Yeah,
I can't do a mind's eye thing. I don't have a mind's eye, and it's like, okay, in that state, I do have a mind's eye. Very obviously,
you found a loophole.
But that's the deal. How do I drag that out with me and say, you stay here, come with me. I want you in my waking life to be have the same talent. Of say, give him white sneakers, basically, whatever, so, and I can see them, whatever.
Well, my stoner friends would say you got to smoke more pot.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe that was my problem. I smoked too much.
Well, that's what my friend that smoked pot lost his gas key to his car. I had to give him a ride the other day. He's like, I was like, are you in a gas? He's like, I need a ride. And I go, are you in car trouble? No, I lost my key for my gas. Anyway.
Well, there's nothing more characteristic of a pot smoker than, where's my keys?
Yeah, I know, exactly. Dude, where's my car? But
anyway, dude, where's my car? That's a pretty good movie.
He's like, I don't know what's wrong with me. And I go, dude, you smoked pot for 40 years. What do you think is wrong with you? Oh, that couldn't be it. I'm like, how many people do you know that you would go, or this is what I always ask him. Tell me, how many people do we know that you would say they were very dumb until they started smoking pot, and then they got better? Then they got smart.
That's right. Yeah.
It's like, well, there's somebody. Well, okay, name them.
Yeah. But no, it does not augment you in any way. No.
Yeah, no, I think it.
Oh, I stopped.
I think what it does, from what I've heard people talk about, what it does is it lowers your perception of what. So you think you're doing smart things because you can't tell what's dumb.
Yeah, losing a little bit. For me, it did nothing for me, since the quality of paranoia is something I already have enough of.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't need any extra of that.
Yeah, I'm with you.
This neighborhood, the way it's gotten, I don't know if I could live with a little extra paranoia.
No, probably not. I was going to ask you, did you have your garbage cans up there so no one would see that you were in car trouble?
Oh, that's interesting that you would ask about that, because I thought about the opportunity of wondering if you wondered about that. But I can explain it. Because when you're under there, if you've got too intense a light streaming in off of the concrete, you can't see what you're doing. Your eyes are adjusting to that bright light outside.
Sunlight.
Yeah, I just block some sunlight.
Oh, I thought maybe. I would have been like, I cannot show any of my neighbors that I'm vulnerable.
No. I was it's just to give myself a better environment for seeing what the heck I'm up to.
Fair enough.
Yep. Hey, look, it's 59 minutes deep. I guess we're done.
Yeah.
Remember, though.
Hang on.
Hey, wait a second.
I know this last panel done, but Let me show you.
Okay.
Dan
says, remember though, when this blows up, I get the first pick of the groupies. All right.
That's been our deal. He can have
That's my only condition. Oh, okay. Yeah, I see. You've got the whole thing. It's just the.
Well, I got one panel, but I want to show you what it looks like so you can see because you were talking about it. Even though I'm about to turn this on. Oops.
Don't lose anything trying to rush.
No.
Showing me something.
No. I'm good. I mean, I can do computer stuff like this with my eyes closed.
That's right. Oh yeah, I can see the moray happening right now. That's the way. Yeah, cool. But you gotta get close to it before people can appreciate what their eyeballs will see, because they'll get morayed. Oh yeah. See that? Yeah. The spattering and the basically it turns it becomes more painterly, because like you say, the off register kind of thing kind of splats out the detail.
Yeah, some of those may be a little dark. I may lighten them up a little bit, but
when you say that you got to lighten them up, you have to go back to
I can go
the flat tone layer.
Yeah, I go here
because you have produced just black dots.
Right.
So you can't lighten those up.
Well, so I got gray here. So for example, like I thought this panel was a little. So
Hey, Dan says, good night. Scott, that art looks awesome. Yep.
Oh, thank you, Dan. Hang on, let me do this one panel, Ellis.
Okay.
Before we go. Oops.
Yeah, if people are able to follow Scott and watch what he does, you'll have a major trick up your sleeve. Did you see all that, folks?
Yeah.
Step by step. Yeah, I tell you what, you might have a very big. You're talking about having YouTube hits. Do this. Do a step by step and watch.
I've thought about showing it on YouTube, but man, I've had several people ask me, "How do you do it?" And I'm very reluctant to tell people because I'm like, "You're kind of a trick."
Yeah, it's something you have a command of that gives you some uniqueness in the field.
Well, and it's not that it's that hard, but I've done it. I know how to make it look good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I made one of my problems is this is why I always say my gray layers.
I was going to say that's a major registration problem.
Well, that's one bad thing. I haven't figured out how to clip it in at the right. See this?
You have to paste it in. It ends up in the middle of X.
So this is the updated. Okay, so here's the original of that panel. Wait. Yeah, that's the original.
You're gonna mess something up.
No. I just hit a layer. Okay, so that's the original one that I did that I said was too dark. Oops. Where'd it go? Oh, here's the update. Oh, wait. Original. Updated. See, I think it's better if it's a little bit lighter.
Mm-hmm.
I made light.
Well, and especially with printing. With printing, you probably can always.
If it's more than like 50%, it tends to close up.
Yeah.
And I tend to. That's why I don't look at it, but I've got a gray grid down here that
I see that, and it's almost like I would almost say you've got too many options there. It's like you ought to have just about 5 of those.
Yeah, you need those. But see, I don't use them towards the black end of the deal.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So, anyway. Okay, dude, I need to go.
Yeah, 1 hour and 4. We're good.
Yep.
Thanks today, Scott. That really helped out. I probably would be completely dead, a zombie right now if I had to make that walk again. Okay.
I'm glad that I was able to help. If you need anything tomorrow, call me, okay?
Okay, I will. I know you got a short day.
I'd have a short day, and I'm planning on, if the weather's supposed to be nice, I'm planning on going
Yeah.
downtown, so I'll be out. If you need me, just call me, and I'm happy to, come. I'll even throw in some old clothes in case I need to help you work on the car.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, no, I don't think we'll both get in at what I need to be at. Okay, we'll see you.
Not. Okay, see ya.
Bye bye. In stream.